Hi, Rob here, and I'm back to continue my reviews of the classic zany comedy team, the Marx Brothers, with their fifth and arguably best film, Duck Soup. Released in 1933 by Paramount Pictures, it shows the country of Fredonia in a terrible economic state, and when it's suggested that the current leader resign and a new one be put in, it's none other than Groucho Marx as Rufus T. Firefly. But meanwhile, the neighboring country of Slovenia wants to start a revolution and take over Fredonia, and the ambassador sends spies Chico and Harpo in there. From there, the film turns into the brothers' usual ingredients of gags, verbal puns, and more gags. Now, this film has been called the brothers' masterpiece, and for a while it was my favorite film of theirs, but lately with me rewatching these films, I would say Animal Crackers, for me, has been climbing higher onto the list. Duck Soup is a rapid-paced political satire made up of skits, puns on the English language, and arguably their most memorable songs. This movie seems to have not dated quite as much as some of the Marx's other films. For one, the movie is set during either an economical depression or recession where the citizens don't want war or pay higher taxes. Sound familiar? And with Duck Soup, there is more substance behind it. The Marxes aren't just mocking the higher-ups in society or at college, they are going full force mocking the government. So, good for them.
How about taking up the tax? How about taking up the carbon? I still insist we must take up the tax. He's right. You've got to take up the tax before you can take up the carbon.
Duck Soup brought some new changes, both good and bad. Director Leo McCarey took over the series, and he directed some hit comedies of this era, including some of Laurel and Hardy's silent films, as well as The Awful Truth, Love Affair, and Going My Way. McCarey was known to allow improvisation on the set and to give the comedians some leeway, and as a result, I think the Marxes look very energetic here compared to their previous two films, where the director, to me, just pointed the camera at them and told them to run loose without some type of control. Because McCarey's background was in silent film, there is a lot of visual humor here, not just for Harpo, but for all of the brothers. Margaret Dumont is back as Groucho's love interest, and the sparkle between the two are still there, and it is terrific.
The future of Fredonia rests on you. Promise me you'll follow in the footsteps of my husband.
How do you like that? I haven't been on the job 5 minutes, and already she's making advances to me. Not that I care, but where is your husband?
Why, he's dead.
I'll bet he's just using that as an excuse.
I was with him till the very end.
No wonder he passed away.
I held him in my arms and kissed him.
Oh, I see. Then it was later.
Also, more of the team's past writers were brought back for material, and what's interesting is Groucho and Chico had a radio show that ran at about the same time called Flywheel, Shyster, and Flyreel, and the screenwriters used it to try out some new material. Obviously, the material that seemed to go well with the radio audience in the studio was included in the film. The film is full of their most memorable bits, including the famous mirror scene where Harpo is mimicking Groucho. The movie also includes Chico and Harpo's encounter with a lemonade vendor played by frequent Laurel and Hardy foil Edgar Kennedy.
Mister, you don't understand. Look, he's a spy and I'm a spy. He woke up on me. I want him to find out something, but he don't find out what I want to find out. Now, how am I going to find out what I want to find out if he don't find out what I got to find out?
Will you quit annoying me?
All right, I quit. All you got to do is make him stop doing this.
So, now just for that, I'm going to tell you limb from limb, limb from limb.
Take them, do the same.
Unfortunately, Zeppo is stuck in a thankless role as Groucho's secretary, and he hardly does anything in the film, even after playing bigger roles in the team's two previous films. This would be the last time that a Marx Brothers film would feature Zeppo. He would go on to be an agent and an inventor. And shockingly, this film does not feature a piano interlude from Chico or a harp one from Harpo. Duck Soup would be the last time that the brothers' films would feature very little plot and focus mostly on just jokes and gags. Beginning with their next film, A Knot at the Opera, the team would be a little bit more polished and they would be less of the victimizers, and the films would be a little bit more story-oriented as well. But Duck Soup, I think, for what it is still a relevant comedy that's loaded with their best jokes and visual gags. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any feedback on these videos that I've been doing, or if you have seen Duck Soup and you want to leave a comment about what you thought, go right ahead. And I also hope that you consider subscribing to R&B Reviews. Thanks very much for watching.